Now let's talk about chromatic aberration. Now, chromatic aberration usually occurs on the edges of an image, and the degree to which you experience that phenomenon is a function of the quality of the lens. Now, what is chromatic aberration? Well, the simplest way to describe it is how light passes through glass. And the best example that I can give you about that phenomenon is simply to take a look at the cover of the album from Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, which we're all familiar with. And if you look at how the light passes through from the left to the right, it separates as it passes through the glass. Now, the conundrum for lens manufacturers is to try to reduce that effect as much as possible. And of course, the higher the price you pay for a lens, the less you're going to get of chromatic aberration. There are many, many inexpensive lenses that are great lenses for the money, but they will produce quite a bit of chromatic aberration. Now, this particular setup is from a 1D Mark II. This is a very old image, 13 years old, taken in February of 2007 in Yosemite National Park, and this, of course, is El Capitan. The lens at the time was a good lens, the 24-70 2.8 L series lens from Canon, and so it does a reasonably good job. However, if we zoom in on this image to 200% and navigate to the left side of the image through these trees, we can see quite a bit of chromatic aberration. Of course, I have the panel turned off over here, which is where the correction panel exists, and so it's not too good. Now, sometimes it's impossible to completely get rid of all chromatic aberration. It gets worse when you have very, very high contrast imagery on the edges of your image. It's a real beast to get rid of in those conditions, and we kind of have that situation in this part of the image, so we'll take a look at how to get rid of it. Now, one of the good things about this image is that we do have the module installed, which is indicated right here. When you see this lens sharpness panel activated, that means the module is activated. And one of the good things about the module is that it automatically adjusts for chromatic aberration. Now, this is going to be a very simple lesson. Now, we've gone over what chromatic aberration is. Here's how to get rid of it. Simply activate this panel. End of lesson. Have a nice day. Now, wasn't that easy? So one of the great things about the modules in DxO PhotoLab 4 is that it automatically gets rid of chromatic aberration. You don't even have to think about it. I can't tell you, I can count on one hand the times that I've had to manually adjust chromatic aberration in any of my images. So if we take a look at some of the details of the panel, which really is kind of unnecessary because DxO does it all automatically, but if you want to make the adjustment manually, you can. Lateral chromatic aberration means from left to right, and if we disconnect this panel, we see a return of some of the purple and the blue chromatic aberration, which we don't want. Now, here is specifically purple fringing removal, and if we disconnect that, it doesn't do too bad a job with the image in terms of degrading it, but we still want it activated because we still want to get rid of the purple fringing. Now, if you have a really, really bad image with a really, really cheap lens, then you may have to increase the intensity and the size, and these are all adjustments based on sight. There is no such thing as step 1, step 2, step 3, so it's all a matter of taste, and adjust this to your heart's content, but I would strongly recommend just let PhotoLab with the module installed make the correction automatically in DxO PhotoLab.